Welcome to the Airbnb Roadmap, the podcast designed to navigate you through the entire journey of short-term rental success. Whether you're just starting out or ready to take your hosting game to the next level. My husband and I became super hosts within just months of launching our first Airbnb and have proudly kept that title ever since. With over 350 reviews and an overall 4.95 star rating, we picked up a hack or two I'm excited to share with you. In each episode, I break down the strategies, insights, and industry secrets that set profitable short-term rentals apart. From choosing the right property, understanding local regulations, and obtaining your listing to go beyond just the basics. I'm here to share everything you need to succeed. So if you're ready to map out your path to Airbnb success and unlock the full potential of short-term rentals, join me on the Airbnb Roadmap. Your journey starts here. Hey, I'm Brittany Wenninger with Porch Realty, powered by Real Broker LLC, and I sincerely apologize for missing a week episode. I was supposed to be recording the night before because this is one of those episodes that is kind of like a live update with Airbnb right now. So having live information is very crucial. So I was supposed to record the night before and, well, my back was giving out. And I usually don't have back issues or honestly like any issues. Like I'm a pretty healthy person, not gonna lie. But yeah, I had some back issues and I was like this does not feel good. I'm just going to record on Tuesdays, which is when my recordings are supposed to be released. Well, Tuesday came and holy guacamole. Like my back was not well. I barely got out of bed. I was like, oh God, like how do I even like pick up baby Melanie? I don't even know. Luckily my mom was there and she was helping out. But like I struggled with even talking, literally talking. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw like I was even trying to do a story post to kind of let everyone know that like, you know, a week is going to be missed because of my back. And literally as I was doing that post, my back flamed up and it like takes your breath away. But I had so much to do that day. And I was like, you know what, like I'm just going to, you know, like muscle through this, just get through it. And that day was a staging day. Now, I don't do my own staging. I hire that out. But all of my properties, I make sure that there's a stager. Even if it's like really cute, I just kind of have the stager go in there and just say like, hey, like anything that we need jazz up, like yay or nay. Anyways, there was photos behind the couch. And my mind really struggles at, you know, you're hurting. Let's not do this, Britt. It really struggles with that. So I like bent over and I was trying to like fix this picture frame in front of the client and whatever. And my back popped. I literally felt a pop and I was like, oh God, like, can I even stand up? And I stood up and my breath was taken away. I could barely talk. Like, even she was like, are you okay? And I was like, ooh, like, I want to say yes, but truthfully, no. And then right after that, I had to do a hour-and-a-half drive for a showing that it was a popular house and I didn't want to like just not do it. And every single bump in the road was painful. I called my mom on the way back and I was like, Mom, I will admit, I don't know if I can make it home. I think I might go on the side of the road and just like lay in my trunk and hopefully that like no one closes my trunk and drives off with me. But anyways, that'd be pretty wild. But I was like, I am not well. And when I got home, she like gave me, she gave me this one stuff like 6 months ago for my husband's back. And never thought that I would actually use it, but it's like this hot and cold spray and you spray it on your back and it kind of like numbs the area. Dude, that worked so well. Like I sprayed it on 3 or 4 times. You're only supposed to spray it on like 4 times a day, but I sprayed it on 3 to 4 times like throughout the day. And I shit you not, like the day after was glorious. Like I woke up and I felt like I was a new woman again. Like my back was fine. Everything was good. So that was on Wednesday. So if you have back issues and want to have a photo of what I am talking about, I will gladly send you that photo because this shit worked. Like, I was so happy. So happy. Anywho, the reason why I didn't want to just film an episode just to film an episode, but this one is very, very crucial. I would highly recommend listening to it. Don't just fast forward to the ending or anything like that. Actually listen to it because this is all about the new Airbnb fee. This will affect obviously the hosts that are hosting on Airbnb right now, and then also the first time investors that are trying to get into Airbnb, because they will need to change up their pricing strategy. Also, now that I think about it, I will need to change up my deal analysis sheet because that will drastically change the numbers. Oh golly, okay, sorry, that was just a side thought in my head. I was like, oh gosh, I have to do that now. Anywho, so let's just actually get to the basics. So right now, Airbnb splits their fees between the host and the guest. As a host, you typically pay around 3%, while the guest actually gets hit with anywhere from 12 to 14% on top of their nightly rate. So if your listing is $100 a night, Airbnb adds their fees to the guest side, and suddenly the guest actually pays $115 or maybe even more. Meanwhile, after Airbnb takes its cut, you pocket $97. So again, $100 a night, the guest pays $115, you pocket $97. Beginning October 27th of this year, 2025, for anyone using their software, Airbnb is scrapping that split model, and instead they are moving to a one single fee model. That is 15.5%. So essentially 12.5% more than what you are used to. And here's the actual kicker. They are taking it directly from the price that you set. Guests are not paying for any more additional fees on their side, and there is no more fees on the checkout screen. Everything is pretty much clear and concise and kind of straightforward when it comes to the price that they're going to be paying. So if it's $100 a night, the guests will be paying $100 a night. And just kind of doing some quick math here, if you have it as $100 a night after October 27th, you will actually be pocketing $84.50 instead of the $97. So what you need to be doing is increasing your nightly stay. And obviously the cleaning is going to be a separate charge, and the taxes and all that stuff. So there's still going to be additional fees like the cleaning fee, the county tax, state tax, township tax, all the taxes. This is just the Airbnb fee. And this is good and bad. I see the good of it as, the guest is they know exactly what they're paying for. There's no, guest will probably not be communicating with you anymore, being like, hey, I thought that I was paying $100 and now it's $115, WTF. Now, guests won't be saying that because they're paying the $100. But when it comes to competitiveness and, your comps and, if you're in a saturated market, this really might affect you because you are being a great host. You see all the Airbnb updates, but unfortunately, your competitors are not. So if they have, and let's just keep on going with this $100, everyone is $100 a night. You see the update and you're like, oh shoot, I'm going to bump it to $115 a night so I can still net the same. But your competitors didn't see the update, or they just don't really care, and they keep the $100 a night. Now your property looks way more expensive than your competitors. And, they're not going to be netting what they used to, but they might be getting more online bookings because they are the cheaper route. So I think for 6 months after this change, your market is going to look very funky. Managing short-term rentals can be very overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. That's why I use Hospitable, my go-to property management software program. This is a very powerful automation tool. Hospitable has transformed how I manage my properties, freeing up my times, and I only spend about 15 to 30 minutes a week managing all of my properties. Hospitable automates 90% of guest communication, syncs your calendars across all the platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo, and even coordinates with your team. It's everything you need to simplify your hosting experience and focus on growing your business. And here's the best part. When you sign up using my link in the show notes, you'll receive $30 off your first invoice. Every cent counts when it comes to investing. It's my way of helping you get started with a tool that has truly changed the game for me. Ready to save time and elevate your hosting? Click the link in the show notes to claim your discount and get started with Hospitable today. And on the guest side of things, guests are probably going to be like, oh my gosh, Airbnb is way more expensive than they were. You know, everyone's nightly rates just skyrocketed, inflation, blah, 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 because this is information that is just going to hosts. It's not going out to the public. Like, there's no commercial that's saying this. They might make a commercial saying no fees at Airbnb, but you know, this isn't really like public information yet. So from an outsider's perspective, they might be like, oh my gosh, inflation, everyone's just jacking up their nightly prices. They don't realize that the fees are taking out. So there's, you know, some like pros and cons to this. Now, another thing to think about is that essentially Airbnb is just kind of like booking.com. And if you really think about it, you know, it used to be kind of like the chain or the level is Airbnb was 3% for the host fee. Vrbo was 8% because they kind of increased their prices as well, like last year. And booking.com was 15%. Well, now it's Vrbo is the cheapest, 8%. And then you have booking.com, 15%. And now you have Airbnb, 15.5%. So that kind of like, it kind of thinking like as a business person, Airbnb kind of did it right because, you know, Airbnb is one of those top software programs that everyone wants to put their listing on. Everyone wants to be a host on Airbnb because that's kind of like the go-to. If someone doesn't know what short-term rental is, you say Airbnb and everyone's like, oh, that makes sense. Like everyone knows what Airbnb is. Kind of like everyone knows what a Kleenex is. Kleenex is a brand. It is not the actual product. So that's literally Airbnb. They created that, you know, that amazing brand that everyone thinks that a short-term rental is an Airbnb. So now they are putting their fees to 15.5%. And yes, you know, it was always 15.5%, but they charged the guest and just charged the host 3%. So essentially, they are pretty much like the level of booking.com. All the fees are now on our side. We have to jack the nightly rates up, and if we don't, then we are going to be netting even less than we are now. So I really, really hope, and I know that like I would say half of the listings on Airbnb are not actually taken seriously by the hosts. So I think it's going to be kind of chaotic when it comes to, you know, outpricing your competitors, trying to be the cheapest but the best, and all that shenanigans. Like, there's going to be a lot of change and chaos out there because of this fee change. You know, is it good? Is it bad? I don't really think it's good or it's bad. It, you know, change is change. Some people really hate it. Some people love it. I'm one of those people that, you know, it's one of those things that when you play a football game and the rule changes, you just have to go with the flow. The people that make a big stink out of it, those are the people that will probably get their listing off of Airbnb and try to do direct booking. And that's another thing that's happening too, is that last year, Airbnb saw that a lot of, like, there's a big movement with direct booking. And that's why they did this whole, like, hey, if there's a URL in any of the messages, like hinting that you want the guest to go to direct booking, we are just going to kick you out of the platform. Like, they are cranking down because they are losing business from direct booking. I think that the reason why they are changing the fee structure is because they want their platform to look more like a direct booking platform. Because with direct booking, you don't have all those shenanigan fees at all. And that's kind of like why people do direct booking, is because you save a lot of money with that. So Airbnb is probably going to advertise the no fees anymore like structure. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they make it into a commercial, but they're probably going to advertise the crap out of it and be like, we are the new direct booking website, and kind of gearing toward that. Should you still kind of try to be a direct booker? I would say yes. If you already have a platform with direct booking, you're doing well, keep on doing that, because at the end of the day, you're still going to be cheaper than having your listing on Airbnb. Obviously, do both, obviously. But people are still going to want to do direct booking because they can still pay the $100 instead of the $115 like we need to do on Airbnb now. So this will be honestly very interesting to follow, and I'm kind of excited to see where this falls. And yeah, so it'll be interesting. Vrbo is now the cheapest platform, which is wild to say. I have a love-hate relationship with Vrbo. I don't think that they are aesthetically pretty to work with. Like, Airbnb is kind of fun to put like a new listing up because it just makes it really easy. Vrbo is kind of confusing, not gonna lie, but it is what it is. It's another platform to get bookings, and I just kind of go with the flow, not gonna lie. So let's talk about some homework for you. If you are already a host and you use a property management software like Hospitable, that's what we use, you want to make sure that probably a week before October 27th, just to make sure that, you got your ducks in a row and you're prepped. A week before October 27th, I would go into the platform, and in Hospitable, you go in underneath the property and then the pricing. You can automatically increase the price by a certain percentage. So we have PriceLabs hooked up to our Hospitable. And in Hospitable, I always make sure to go into Vrbo and say, hey, I want to increase the nightly rates by, 5%, because Vrbo is 5% more than Airbnb at the time. So I automatically increase the Vrbo prices by 5% to make sure that the margins are still the same. Like, we are still making the same at the end of the day. So what do you need to do? Now you need to go into Airbnb and increase the nightly rates by 12.5%. I know that sounds so much. Okay. 12.5%. And that way you are still making the same amount of money at the end of the day, but it's increasing those nightly stays by 12.5%. And then you should be all good to go. I will probably do a screen recording on how you do this so people don't really kind of get confused and they are more prepped than not when it comes to October 27th. But if you do not change your prices, you will not be netting as much as you would, let's say, last year. So I would definitely change your prices. And I would kind of see what your competitors are doing. It'll be interesting to see how many people switch their prices or not, or if they're just going to eat that cost. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. My Instagram is the Airbnb Roadmap Podcast. You can DM me on there. Also, we will be talking about this in the mentorship program as well. So if you feel like that you are missing out on that, you should feel like that you are missing out on it because it's pretty cool. So reach out to me if you're interested. I will send you the links, but till then, I will talk to you next time, and I am so happy that my back feels better. Feels good to actually talk again and breathe, to be honest. But okay, see you next time. Thanks for joining me on the Airbnb Roadmap. If you're loving these episodes and want to keep the conversation going, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with someone who's ready to dive into the world of short-term rentals. Got a question or topic you would love to hear about? Reach out. This podcast is all about learning and growing together. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the Airbnb Roadmap Podcast, for more tips, tricks, and behind-the-scene insights. Until next time, here's to turning your short-term rental dreams into thriving realities. I'll see you back here soon.